Okay, so all right, so I'm being recorded. So let's hope I'm showed here. So what's up, guys? Happy Monday. It is the 22nd of March. So Mrs. Golding and I are inside, and we picked our problems for the week for the Friday paper on the video. So I'll just go ahead and get started with it. I'm just gonna have my mouse down. So we're gonna start with number 4 right here. So number 4 is find the quotient of 65.02 divided by 1.2. So remember, we've done a few of these together, and whenever we're doing these, the first number, if we do it the traditional way with the little division box, we write it. The first number goes underneath the bar, so 65.02, and then 1.2 goes on the outside. So remember, if we're dividing, we cannot have any decimals out here. This guy has to be a whole number. So whenever we want to rewrite it, we make it larger by a power of 10 by moving the decimal place one time to the right. So let's say if I erase that guy and I erase it and I make it 1.2 becomes a 12 now. But remember, if I do that with him, I also have to do that on the inside. So then this 65.02 becomes 650.2. So now I'm doing the exact same thing, but I just made everything 10 times bigger. So I'm going to do my division like I always do. So I have 12 does not go into 6, but 12 goes into 65 5 times. So if I do that, 5 times 12 is 60. And so if I subtract, I'll get 5 left. And I'll bring my 0 down. So now I have 12. Oh, I should have also said, remember when we're doing this, make sure we keep our decimal point right up. We go straight up with it. I should have said that in the beginning, but I think you guys are all right. So now we have, how many times does 12 go into 50? That is 4 times. So 4 times 12 gives me 48. That's going to give me 2. I'm going to bring my 2 all the way down. So now I have, how many times is 12 going to 22? It goes in once, so this is whenever I start writing behind my decimal point. Because remember, I have to keep everything in order. Oh, you can hear the song while I'm talking, so I'll have to talk over him real quick. So, since I have my 1, I'll do 1 times 12. Gives me 12. Subtract it. And so now I'll get 10. So now I have to work with it and try. Mrs. Golding is showing off her famous dance moves to my left. So I'm going to add a 0 here. Remember, because technically there's zeros going forever, right? So if I had 1 0 here, I can bring them all the way down. Now you get 100 now. So how many times is 12 going to 100? That's what you think to yourself. You know that 12 goes into 100 8 times. So we do 8 times 12. That's going to give me 96. So then 100 minus 96 is going to give me 4. And nothing's happened yet. So I'm going to, again, do another 0. Bring that guy all the way down. I get a 0 here, so I have 40. So 12 goes into 43 times. That's end up being 36. I get a 4 again. So then look, I'm going to end up getting another 40. So then this guy looks like it's going to be repeating. It's going to keep going 40 minus 36 and then so on and so forth. So if you're going to write this on your paper, looks like we would get 54.183, and the 3 is repeating. But online, I think if you enter it on Teacher Made, which we would like you guys to do, I'll just say on Teacher Made, we're going to represent a repeating decimal and like this. We're going to do 54.183, and then we're going to do ... So if you're going to enter that on Teacher Made, this is how it should look right here. So if I confused you any way through that, just ask me in class and I can go over it really quick, or hopefully you can go back and just watch this video. So there we go. So there is number 4. We're going to slide down just a hair. and actually go to number 6 right here. So for most of us, we were talking about volume last week a little bit. And so we're told to find the volume of a cylinder that has a radius of 5 inches and a height of 8 inches. Excuse me. Use the formula V equals pi radius squared times h. Round your answer to the nearest tenth. So remember, Mrs. Golding taught you guys to look for the important stuff in these questions. So scan through, and we notice we have a radius of 5 inches, so that is important, and a height of 8 inches. So if you guys see this on iLearn, this would be something you would want to like highlight in your question. Also use a formula. So here's our formula we're going to use. So those are our 3 important things we needed to know. So I know my R is 5 inches, or I'll just write 5, and my height is 8 inches because I boxed those up, or I highlighted those, say. And so if I plug those into my volume formula, I know I'm going to have V is equal to, well, pi is always pi. It's the same. And then so my radius is 5, so 5 squared times h, which is 8. So I literally just plug everything in. So I'm going to V is equal to pi times, well, what is 5 squared? We know 5 squared is 25. And then I can just bring my 8 down again. So for this problem, also you guys know that pi is approximately 3.14. So we're going to use that so we don't have a repeating on and on decimal in this. So round your answer to the nearest tenth. So we're going to do V equals, I'll just do this because multiply it from left to right. So if you do that, 3.14 times 25, let's actually just do that real quick. 3.14 times 25, that's going to give me 0, 2, 7, 15, 0, 2, 6, 5, 8, 7. So that's what I got for my answer, but remember I have 2 decimal points, so it's going to be 78.5. 78.5 times 8. And if I do that, that'll end up giving me 628. Yeah, 628. 628. So, again, if you're doing this on paper, it would be great to see 628. It would be inches, and then we're volume, so we're 3 dimensions, so that would be inches cubed. But if you're entering this on teacher made, it is perfect if you just enter 628. That would be perfectly fine. So again, if you guys have any questions about this, ask me in class and we can go over it. But now we're going to zoom through near the end of the packet, because a few of these we went through and we were talking how we should do them together in class so we can explain and answer any questions. So we're going to do actually 16 and 17, and then we'll be good. So find the product of the following numbers. Write the answer in scientific notation. So we have 2 numbers written in scientific notation, and we're multiplying them by each other. So we have 3.4 times 10 to the 7th times 9.2 times 10 to the negative 4th. So Mrs. Golding wrote me a note that you guys have learned a little remembering thing called LARS when you're multiplying scientific notations together. So I'll explain a little bit better when we get there, but so it stands for left. If it's left, we add, and if it's right, we subtract. Oh, that's a bad U. Subtract. So we'll explain that a little bit more. Let me explain that a little bit more when we get there. So again, whenever we're doing these, remember we multiply. Maybe box these up. We multiply these 2 numbers together. So what do we get when we get 3.4 times 9.2? I think we said it was 31.28. Let me double check that real quick. 3, 4, 9.2, 368. That's going to be 6, 3, 31, 8, 2. 32. Let me check really quick. Oh. 3.4 times 9.2. Oh, I did my math wrong. That's all right. Oh, that should be a 30. Whoops. So that shouldn't be 31. Okay. So yeah, I was right. My bad. So we have 31.28. And then so remember, think about this if we were doing, if these were just variables, so 10 to the 7th times 10 to the 4th. So think of it if it was like a to the 7th times a to the negative 4th, what would we do? We would add our exponents together and we would get a to the 3rd. So if you guys remember that, this is the same thing except we have tens instead of a variable. So we'll get times 10. So 7 minus 4 gives me 3. So you might think, oh, this is my final answer. I'm done. Well, not so fast, because remember, scientific notation requires us to only have one number in front of the decimal. So we actually need to move this guy one spot to the left. And this is where Lars comes into hand. So left add, right subtract. So if we go left one spot, we have to add 1 to our exponent because we go up 10, because it goes from 31 to 3. So we need to make it actually this 10 1 times higher, because 3 times 10 would give us 30. So then this would be 3.128 times 10 to the 4th. So again, remember, whenever we multiply these together and we need to move our decimal point so many places to the left, we would add however many times we move to the left to our exponent in our 10. And then say if I had to move to the right 3 times, I would subtract 3 tens from my exponent. So again, we can go over that together if we need to. But if not, that is that one. So now the last one we're going to do is number 17. So we are adding two mixed numbers. So when we do this, let's just add the numbers together, and then let's add the fractions together. So we all know what 3 plus 2 is. So actually, yeah, I'll write it like this. 3 and 2/5. That looks like an exponent. Is plus 2 and 2/3 equals. So we know 3 plus 2. Everybody knows what that is. That's 5. But now I need to add my fractions together. So let's actually get rid of these right here, and let's make them, let's find them that thing we need when we add fractions, that common denominator. So between 3 and 15, that would end up just being 15. Or I just said it. 3 and 5 would be 15. I guess 3 and 15 would also be 15 as well. But we know that our common denominator between 5 and a 3 would be 15. So let's look right here. Let's look right here. If 2/5 needs to be over 15, so we did 5 times 3 gave me 15. So that means I need to do 2 times 3 on top. So that would give me 6/15. And then so I did, let's look at this fraction right here, 2/3. So if I did 3 times 5 to get 15, I also have to do 2 times 5. So that gives me 10. So now this is easy again. We do 3 plus 2 is 5, and 6 fifteenths plus 10 fifteenths would give me 16 fifteenths. Well, now I have a mixed number with an improper fraction. So I need to change that. So how, because 16 is obviously greater than 15, so I can write that's equivalent to, so I know it's going to be now 6, but then what does my fraction become? So remember, I can break 16 fifteenths down into 15 over 15 plus 1 over 15. And then obviously we all know 15 over 15 is equal to 1. So that's why this becomes a 6. And so what am I left with? I'm left with 1/15. So I'm pretty sure the answer box on TeacherMate is a mixed number like this. And the only answer that is accepted is 6 and 1/15. So whenever you enter that, make sure you enter 6 and 1/15. So again, these 4 questions are on this video. But if you guys do have a question about them in class, I can try to explain them a little bit better in person. So here, I'll scroll back up really quick. Obviously, you guys can go back in the video, but I'll just look through my work real quick. So number 4, again, our main points were switching the 1.2 to a 12, and then so we would have to do the same with the 65. We have to change it to 650, and then we just divide like normal. Again, remember, make sure to keep your decimal place in line right here. That's important. So then we get a repeating number. So again, this is how it wants it on TeacherMade. 54.183 and then ... So then I'll scroll down a little bit. Number 6, find our important information, our radius being 5, our h being 8, and our volume equation. And then just plug in what you know. That's all you got to do. And remember, we're going to use 3.14 for pi. And scroll down a tad. Number 16 is multiplying 2 scientific notation numbers together. And then so whenever you get to this step right here, you have 31.28 times 10 to the third. So we have to only have one number in scientific notation. So since we moved it to the left, we add 1 to the exponent in 10. So we end up getting 3.128 times 10 to the fourth. And last but not least, number 17, we are adding 2 mixed numbers. So we add just the numbers by themselves. So 3 plus 2, we get 5. Find our common denominator of our fractions. And we get an improper fraction. So make sure whenever we do this, we know that 16 fifteenths is 15 over 15 plus 1 over 15. So that's why we end up with 6 and 1/15. So I hope you guys watch this video. Have a good rest of your day whenever you are watching this, and see you in class tomorrow. Have a good day.